right, so Dragon Shark, great solid first map pick. I do like it a lot. We do see first pick and first ban going over to the Minion Miners. Is there anything specifically you like to see picked or banned here, Alebeard?
Well, obviously globals are really big on this map, and then percent damage mechanics as well. So I don't know, with the Malthea changes today, I don't think he's going to get banned as much as he probably used to. I wouldn't be surprised to see probably the second team ban Stukov. I think that Miners will let him through, hoping that maybe they get to first pick him. So I'm thinking maybe a Dahaka or a Falstad or something. Something global is what jumps out to me.
Okay, all right, that's definitely a possibility. It depends, right? It depends on whether or not we might see Stukov first ban both games, or all three, possibly all three games is set, as all the Chair League games now this season are best of threes. Or, I agree with you, Dahaka to me is the strongest global right now. So if you were gonna ban a global and not take it, Dahaka feels like the right ban there. But let's see, their time is up. They have to pick, and they pick Artanis. All right.
That seems like a long time for a first ban.
Right? They let that time go all the way, and they landed on Artanis. Okay. All right. We can deal with that. It's an interesting choice.
I think it has to be Stukov here for the second ban. He just seems so strong on the PTR. I can't see teams letting him through.
He's still pretty strong, even on live. They did not tweak those numbers at all, so you can't, right? If you're Super Titan sick and you have Stukov is available, and you know that Minion Miners just, I mean, like, let's be honest, they threw away their ban without throwing away their ban by banning Artanis. So now Minion Miners is either taking Stukov and you have to ban it, or you're banning, as Super Titan sick is showing right now, the Malthael. And if you're going to ban Malthael, who is super strong right now, that means now Minion Miners basically gets their choice. And if they want Stukov, they can take him.
Yeah, and that's a good point, talking about how them essentially leaving their ban open. Because no matter what super tight bans, they've got their choice of Dahaka, Stukov, Malthael. Somebody's getting through.
Right, exactly. And I have to be honest, I'm surprised they went Dahaka here. But you know, global can't be ignored on this map. This is probably one of Dahaka's better maps. He can sit in that top lane, be down when he needs to in the team fight, and really just be annoying. But keep that top shrine over on the red side for Minion Miners.
All right, Stukov, we got him.
We did not have to wait long for that, did we?
No, I didn't think we would. I was really afraid that he would get banned straight through. So I'm excited they're actually going to see him get played.
I've done a lot of Chair League games. I'm not going to lie. I was expecting him to get banned straight through and us not see him tonight. So this is exciting. I love when I get to cast a new hero night one. It makes me happy. Now going over, you know, at this point you have to figure out what you're going to do to deal with Stukov. And I don't know that there's that many hard counters.
No, it's not obvious yet.
So it'd be interesting to see what Minion Miners does here.
Maybe burst might be his weakness, but again, it's so early, and nothing jumps out based on what we saw in PTR. Like, he doesn't have an obvious weakness, because his trait gives him a nice little burst if he needs it for healing.
All right, a new Barak did get nerfed a little bit today.
He got hit pretty hard if you're a team or a player that likes to run Cocoon, I think. If you didn't go that route, I don't think the nerfs were as bad, but the Cocoon nerfs, I think, are the big ones.
But 2 globals on the side of Minion Miners, so that might make up for the fact that they did give up Stukov. What'll be interesting to me here, so burst is definitely Stukov's weakness if there was one. He has to use his trait to trigger that immediate healing, right?
Right.
And so it's interesting, like, it's still a good size heal. Like, Stukov is not a joke when it comes to healing.
For sure.
He might have enough here to, you know, looking at Dahaka and Nubarak Brightwing, there might not be enough room for just 2 damage dealers. I think you're going to need an extra healer too.
I was going to ask you that. I was going to ask you if you thought there was a chance they might go with the double support.
I think they have to, and I like Super Titan Sick banning the Li Ming. She can do a ton of damage, and that she is one of the few that could have been problematic for Stukov. But yeah, I do think Minion Miners is probably going to have to run a second support here. I don't think they can get away with just Brightwing. But we don't know. The problem is we don't know what Super Titan Sick is going to bring in for their defense. Not their defense, but rather their offense, right? Falstad on his own, yeah, okay, Brightwing can probably deal with his damage depending on how well the Brightwing player is. But they could line up, Greymane. They could bring in a Genji. Genji's still on the board. I never thought I would get to this point in the draft and say Genji's still available.
That's the beauty of having so many strong heroes, is it makes the draft so much more interesting because some of these heroes have to get through now. You can't just ban the one or two clear tops and then go from there.
If only Blizzard would return ETC to his former glory, that would make me happy. All right, but let's see. Here, timer's running out. Minion Miners has to make a decision, and their ban is Tychus.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah, especially with Dahaka and Nubarak on your team as well. Tychus would get a decent amount of value there. But just as easily, we could have Super Titan Sick pick up a Leoric and still get the same kind of value that they would have out of a Tychus. This will be interesting. These two picks are going to kind of set the stage for the rest of this draft, I think. And
we'll have a much better idea what they're doing after this.
I actually like the way they've drafted so far, too, Super Titan Sick. They're really not showing anything. Both sides really aren't showing anything other than Minion Miners is really prioritizing the global, which could work out well, especially if their rotations are on point. Let's see.
So are you thinking maybe some kind of auto attacker here since they have a new Barak?
I would love to see Avala.
Staying with Falstad, yeah. I
would love to see Avala, but I don't know. I think they have a plan. Genji would work too. Okay, Leoric Varian. I definitely feel like they're light on the damage though.
Right. They'll be good, I think, against the Dragon Knights because they've got Leoric, but in team fights they may be a little bit short.
Right, and that's where on this map that's going to decide who's getting the dragon, right? Minion Miners has a super strong, solid. I'm gonna hold the two shrines comp right now. They can leave Dahaka up there. If Dahaka really needs help, Brightwing can port to him, and boom, now your 2-on-1 or 1-on-1 turns into flipping the other way, so that the advantage is on the side of Minion Miners. So I like. Actually, both these teams are drafting really well. It'll be interesting to see what these next two picks are for Minion Miners. They really need damage here. They desperately need damage. And are they going to get it?
It's interesting how much time both these teams are using in the draft. All right, they got some burst there and some good sustain with Raynor. I don't know how much you see Raynor, but in my regular games, I don't see Raynor a ton.
I almost never see Raynor. It's a struggle, right? Because Vala does Raynor's job better than Raynor does Raynor's job. So unless you're looking for something specific, like the attack speed, which you don't need here given the rest of the team comp, perhaps maybe a little. Raynor has a little more self-sustain than Vala does with his trait and being able to back out. So I guess that's true. Or not his trait, but his E that you can't hit, which is in essence an extra trait. So I guess I kind of get that. I like the Kael'thas pick. I feel like with Li Ming going away, Kael'thas is a good pick, especially if you can stun Stukov. I mean, you have four stuns, 5 if Raynor goes the talent at, I think that's 13 or 16. It's been a while since I played Jimmy. But you have a lot of stuns. If you can stun Stukov, you can keep him from being Stukov.
Well, and they decided to go with just Brightwing, but other than Kael'thas, they took 3 other heroes that have really good self-sustain.
That's true. I do like the Gul'dan pick. I just don't know how well that's going to work with that many stuns because of the way Horrify is working right now. And if you get stunned out of that stun once the Horrify pops, the Horrify's over. But we'll have to see. We'll see. Both of these teams loading in. We'll see. We'll see how this works out for them. I like
I'm
both
excited.
drafts. Yeah.
Can't wait to see Stukov.
That's what I'm most excited for.
Well, and the thing with Stukov is he puts up such strong healing numbers, but aside from his initial virus target, and when he pops his trait, it's not really targeted.
Right.
You're kind of dependent on your team being in the right place. You're kind of dependent on that spread working out well for you. It's got a little bit of RNG to it.
Yeah, now it does. All right, so, but here we go, loading into the game for the blue team, Super Titan Sick. We have Even Uno playing that Stukov, Apex on the Gul'dan, Cloud9 on the Falstad, Cloud6 on the Varian, and Grok on the Leoric. And you want to do the blue team? Or, I'm sorry, the red team?
Sure. We have KC Strom on Dahaka, Quick Hips on Brightwing, Sir Mac of Cheese on Kilthas, Wesgro's playing Anubarak, and Nightblade CD on Raynor.
And everybody's running that same computer. Someone in this group had a potato, and it looks like Apex might need to look for a new upgrade.
The last turtle across the line.
Indeed. All right, so let me ask you a question. I like to ask this question when I'm casting with somebody. In a vacuum, who do you think has the stronger draft for Dragonshire?
Oh, it's really tough because you have that element of Stukov. So just based on his raw power, I want to say Stukov, but when you're talking Dragonshire specifically, I like the global on Minion Miners. They're two globals I think will really make a difference.
Okay. I also want to point out Varian went the Lion's Maw quest instead of going the W talent. So we might see a more damage-oriented Varian here.
Got our opening middle skirmish that's become the trademark now of esports.
It truly has, hasn't it? Everybody wants to do this skirmish right away. You know what's interesting to me here is because of the two healers that we're running, nobody's going to die right away. Leoric taking a bit of damage, but not going to be enough to finish him off. And, yeah, everybody's going to go about their rotations the way they want.
Well, and the funny part is everybody wants to do this opening middle fight, but so many people don't understand why they're doing it in the first place, which in this case, I think Super Tight would have been better off to ignore that because they don't have the globals. They can't get to lane faster. They're missing out on XP top now. Right,
and they started to sang Gul'dan top, and then he changed his mind and stayed. Falstad still hasn't gone top, and Dahaka's taken an XP lead, albeit slight because it's so early in the game, over Super Titan Sick.
But with very little chance of getting a kill in that opening fight, I just don't think there's a lot of value in it, especially when you are the team that doesn't have the globals.
There really isn't, and now Falstad had to waste his fly to get up there because the shrines are already being contested. But there's 3 members from Minion Miners in the bottom lane right now. So they actually own both shrines and are holding both shrines.
And it's about even in the middle, so I don't think they're going to be able to pick up the Dragon Knight just yet. But it definitely puts extra pressure on Sick and Tight to try to equalize in some way.
And you know, the red team with 3 members down in the bottom lane were able to kill Leoric. And now rotation onto the Varian. This may push him back far enough that Anubarak's able to complete that channel. Oh! The 2 members in the top lane, Falstad and Stukov, able to secure that top shrine.
Yeah, very timely there.
I definitely thought that one was going to go over right away and give Super Titan Sick a disadvantage and have that dragon coming at them.
Yeah, especially when they lost that early Leoric, but he comes back so quickly. They're really holding out well in the bottom. You know, they're down a man down there, but they're still keeping that pretty well contested.
No, they absolutely are, and I think, but if you look, right, with Leoric and Gul'dan, it's such low health, and neither one of them can tap at this point.
Right.
I think they've done all the contesting they can.
Well, and they're slowly getting squeezed on XP as well. They've been focused so much on just having to contest those shrines that they've missed little chunks of experience here and there in the lane, and it's starting that up.
Right, and we see just about a half level lead for Minion Miners over Super Titan Sick. Back up top, Stukov has left Falstad, so Dahaka's just trying to get this shrine. This could be, yep, another red shrine setup. I think that was Anubarak feeling a little lucky. He was not getting it that fast.
Right. Bavarian is getting low, and he just used his parry.
Bottom lane, everybody's back, and Stukov has joined them, so it's 3-on-3. And
But Falstad's having to back up top, so they're losing that lane completely right now.
Right, and that's going to be the struggle, I think, this entire game for Super Titan Sick, is keeping up with the global soak.
One of my favorite things about Dragonshire is how long teams can really stretch out this first Dragon Knight phase. It adds a real strong element of tension, right? You know, both teams are
right.
Fighting over those shrines, and the longer it goes, the more tense it becomes.
Especially if they can hold it out long enough to get level 10 as the first Dragon Knight lands, right?
I'd love to see Minion Miners. They've got an advantage when they can push back in the bottom. I'd love to see them pick up this giant camp.
Or even the Bruiser camp at this point. Like
that's what I meant.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was looking at their group, and I realized the reason they haven't yet is they don't really have a solo laner. Ooh, that's
getting ugly down there.
That's not good. That was a 2 for 1 because Leoric went down, but it's Leoric, so not really critical.
And Rainer's trait saved that from being a 2 for 2 because he was so low and it popped and they couldn't get the kill.
Yeah.
But he is getting some good pushback here on Stukov. Stukov's getting low, but Leoric's back.
Yeah, once Leoric was back, Rainer is running as quickly as he can, which makes sense, all things considered. But I think Shrine Control is about to go over to Super Titan Sick. They may... Nope, Kael'thas has made it mid. They're not going to be able to secure that shrine quite yet.
But they've done a really good job of kind of dealing with the pressure that Minion Miners has been putting on and the control they've had on the shrines to get it back in their favor now, although they are a little bit low on health.
But now Stukov is there and throwing out the heals. But that rotation means someone somewhere is not getting the help they need.
Yeah, Falstad just got pushed off top.
Yep, exactly. But it did cost him Kael'thas. So what's interesting here, even though Minion Miners is soaking better than Super Titan Sick right now, Super Titan Sick is getting the kills needed to keep up with Minion Miners.
Right.
They're only a sliver behind XP-wise. Oh,
that bottom shrine is just a constant battle.
And Rainer got really low there. But what I like about the bottom lane is Minion Miners was able to push it all the way through that front wall. And so they got a lot of value, even though they're taking a ton of damage now and the fight is real. They got a lot of early value out of that.
And once they lose that bottom fountain, they're going to have a lot of trouble contesting down there.
Right.
Uh-oh.
This might actually... Well, nope. Anubarak is solo top.
They've got middle locked up, but
yeah.
they're going to get even more push in the bottom now.
Well, I don't know, because KT's moving up. So, and now that 10s are on both sides, we see the Phoenix coming out. Still going to stop but he finishes it, and we do have the first Dragon Knight of the game at 7 minutes.
Now we'll have to see how much value they get out of it now. They've already got that bottom wall down, so they're way ahead on value already.
That was evil, though. Stukov was channeling his silence against the Dragon Knight. The Dragon Knight could use no skills, but just sit there and hit with his axe.
Yeah.
That cost him at least 2 rotations of his Flame Breath there. So I do like that decision. I think it's interesting. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it looks like they're going to go for the fort here instead of going up top and trying to get the front wall up there too. So they went with more structures in one lane as opposed to kind of spreading out the push.
Yeah, and that's what I was about to say that I found interesting. Same exact thing, actually. Was instead of spreading it out so that each lane was vulnerable, they pushed hard mid. In the meantime, Rainer did take out that fountain bottom. So that's been done. And it looks like now we have some camps being taken. Anubarak taking the top Bruiser camp, Kael'thas and Brightwing taking that bottom Siege Giant camp. Just kind of painting the map red, right? You have time. You're basically up as far as you can. Your lanes are pushed out so far. You can't really soak anywhere but the bottom safely, which Rainer's doing already for you.
Yeah, they took both those camps without really giving up any experience in either lane. You had Dahaka up top pretty much the whole time, and Rainer had that bottom lane getting soaked constantly as well. So now they've extended to over a level advantage now.
Right, and 13 versus 11 is a scary place to be. The only one that's worse is 13 versus 16, which at this rate I do think will happen, especially with Super Titan Sick picking up this bottom bruiser camp now.
That's going to give them a much stronger push here as this next Dragon Schreier phase comes up.
Dahaka, in a little bit of trouble top lane, is being annoying to everybody and did receive a Stukov shove, but still alive, barely. I do think he's going to go down here.
But in exchange, they got the bottom keep and a tower.
Yeah, that was a good trade, and it looks like they're working keep wall now, too. They have a lot of minions and a lot of mercenary camps pushing this keep wall down in the bottom lane. That is not going to survive long. And now you have a win condition opened up to you.
Yeah. You know, it's a tough situation here because they're all trapped top. If they back, by the time they get there, the push is probably going to be over anyway. So they're electing to just make their own push top, but it's not a good enough trade. But I don't know that there's much else they could have done.
There really isn't at that point, right? The keep goes down pretty quickly. All you can do at this point is try to get some XP. At least now we have Super Titan Sick on level 13, so that the experience is a little closer to even. At least they're on the same tier. But what are you going to do? You know you're not going to push across the Bridge of Death looking to engage there. And the rest of Minion Miners is going to go around. They have the bottom shrine. Super Titan Sick has to go to the top shrine.
But I like that decision by Super Tight to just stay top and get whatever push they could up there. So many people, so many teams make the mistake of they want to go back, they want to defend, and instead they get no value because they can't get back in time to defend, and they don't get any offset push. But in the meantime, they're losing a lot of heroes up top.
Right. Stukov got picked off early. It looked like KT was actually going to get picked off first, but what ended up happening was Stukov went down, like the rest of the team collapsed in, Stukov went down, and now we're going to have another Dragon Knight going over to level 16 Minion Miners against level 13 Super Titan Sick. This is not the best place to be when you're down a talent tier.
No, and even though they have that bottom lane open, it's too early in the game to go for a win at this point. But I think they can definitely get another keep, and that's just going to be constant pressure for the rest of the game.
Right. Now, the one thing that I would say is I would have liked to have seen Dahaka grab the Dragon Knight instead of Kael'thas. Kael'thas does so much damage, and Phoenix is up, that it would have been easier for them to get this keep had Kael'thas not been in the Dragon Knight. Now, it looks like they're still going to get it, so, you know, it is what it is. But I definitely would have preferred to have seen Dahaka in that Dragon Knight there.
Now they are getting some good pushback here, Super Tight is.
Right, but so the problem here is, again, because Kael'thas is in the Dragon Knight, he can't do anything to assist the other 4 members of Minion Miners. Where, you know, Dahaka, Dahaka with his little swirl is doing a little bit of damage to the whole team, but realistically...
Got a Nimrak coming in the back here.
This might be some kills there. With Stukov, ooh, there's the fear, but with Stukov going down, this could spell the end for Super Titan Sick here. Oh, man, that's an evil Phoenix.
The one thing they have in their favor is that all this happened in the top lane, which is the only strong lane they have remaining, and the death timers are still relatively short.
I like the fact that Minion Miners decided to walk away. They did not need to keep pushing that lane. Look, I get it if you want to get all the structures. Like, I know people feel that that's the way to win the video game, but you have 2 lanes opened up. Grab every camp you can and try to get 20. Don't worry about that keep wall over the Bridge of Death.
Right, and just be patient because they're almost guaranteed to get the next Dragon Knight, and at which point they will have a win condition. So there's no need to take chances here, fight on that bridge, and let Super Tight get some kills and have those comeback mechanics in their favor.
Right. When I like this, bully them off their own. So Minion Miners take Super Titan 6 Bruiser Camp. That's the right move to do there.
Yeah.
Don't let them
And they
have
can't
that.
contest. Yeah, they're 3 levels behind. Even though they know exactly what they're doing, there's no way the Super Tight can contest that.
Right, they have to let it go. Now you split, you take the other, you got 2 more bruiser camps on the map. There's looks like Minion Miners is going to send KT and Raynor down to the bottom lane to take these out, and Anubarak starts the top lane Minion Miners side of bruisers, and that's 2 more camps pushing. But more importantly, that's 2 camps worth of XP that Super Titan Sick can't get now.
Right. And this is a great lesson on what to do when you're ahead like this. Again, you don't need to take chances. You don't need to force fights that you don't need. Just continue to put pressure on the enemy team. And Super Tight has no choice but to just respond to this pressure. They can't generate any pressure of their own in return.
And now they're stuck trying to clear camps, and the shrines are active in 4 seconds. So look, you got KT at the top shrine already. You got Dahaka moving bottom shrine. You have a Anubarak sitting mid shrine, just waiting to grab it.
Yeah. And Super Tight knows that they can't do anything about this. They're just going to stay alive, try to keep their health bars high, and defend as best they can once the Dragon Knight gets channeled.
I don't know. It looks like they're looking to get a kill against Raynor and Dahaka in that bottom lane, but that's not going to happen. And now you have to get back fast, right? The Dragon Knight's making a beeline for your core, guys.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that decision. Like, I get trying to force a fight maybe when you have an odd man advantage, but again, Minion Miners doesn't have to take that fight. They can just disengage, run Super Tight around for a few minutes, and delay them even longer getting back to the core where the real threat is.
Right. And it looks like all the damage is coming out. That core's already at 30%. That is going to be game. There is no stopping this at this point. Yeah. So game number 1 going over to Minion Miners.